Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Woo Report. The Woo Report, episode 248. I'm your host, Sam Woo. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios bunker in beautiful New Jersey, an undisclosed location in New Jersey. As we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today's the big day. The Devils celebrating 40 years of Devils hockey, but really honoring the man, the myth, the legend, our very own Ken Daneyko, because he was there from pretty much from the beginning. Homegrown New Jersey Devil, never left. And it's pretty remarkable, the loyalty between the franchise, Ken Daneyko, and Ken Daneyko with the New Jersey Devils franchise. It's pretty remarkable because loyalty is a really, especially in today's world, a very rare commodity, loyalty. Ken Daneyko with his number 3, his jersey number 3, retired in the rafters. Remember that ceremony? It was right after Scott Stevens. Scott Stevens was the first. But without a doubt, Ken Daneyko night, I remember, was just an amazing night as well as Scott Stevens. Hanging that number 3. And Ken Daneyko really represents not only the New Jersey Devils, but kind of like the state of New Jersey. Just the way he played, the way he conducts himself on and off the ice, especially his post-hockey career as a broadcaster with MSG Networks. Now working with new play-by-play announcer Bill Spalding. Ken Daneyko is also a good friend of the Let's Go Devils podcast, in full disclosure. And my personal dealings with Ken Daneyko, and again, I'm saying it on a personal level, nothing short of a true gentleman. His heart is with the team at all times. The man has a big heart, which is why he is so charismatic and so beloved by the fan base. And he's really a rare treasure that's really not seen in sports anymore. The entire career, NHL career, 20 years, was spent with the New Jersey Devils. Think about that. 20 whole years. Some players don't even last 2 years in the NHL, but 20 whole years on the blue line for your New Jersey Devils is quite remarkable. Daneyko would say this in many interviews, that he didn't even know where the state of New Jersey was when he was drafted. Back in those days, it was kind of like you get the call. It's not like the NHL draft nowadays where you've got live footage. You've got a draft board, predictions, analytics, all that. But Ken Daneyko, he came to New Jersey. He used his greatest asset, and I think we can all agree about Ken Daneyko. I think his greatest asset that nobody could ever top as a New Jersey Devil was his heart. You hear stories of him just practically having a bruised up, broken hand, and he's back out there out in the ice. No excuses. playing for his team. He also, we talk about analytics in today's world, and I always have said that the numbers don't always paint the right picture. And I think that Ken Daneyko's numbers in terms of goals, assists, again, if you want to look at one number, his penalty minutes, which is a lot, he fought for his team. And you need those type of players on a hockey team. Maybe today Brendan Smith is one of those kind of players that will stick up for his teammates. And I wouldn't say he's a modern-day Ken Daneyko, but he plays a role, and he plays it very well, just like Ken Daneyko did, which is why his jersey number is retired in New Jersey. Mr. Devil, the nickname, totally fits who Ken Daneyko is, and probably we are very spoiled that we have a New Jersey Devils lifer, which is very rare in other teams throughout his career and post-career thus far. During the pandemic, we asked Ken Daneyko to come on in 2020, and we had so much fun. We were just like blown away. Obviously, Ken doesn't really know how to use a computer, so we had to work out those technical issues, but he did it. He did it. I think Ken Daneyko would admit, just like at his retirement ceremony, I guess the Devils gave him a crystal and he almost fumbled it, but at the end he did catch it. The gift that was, I think, a crystal gift. And Ken Daneyko wasn't perfect either, which makes him perfect. He's like one of us, and I think that's why he's called Mr. Devil. He is one of us. He that's why he's relatable to the fans. Plus, I mean, he's probably one of the more engaging Devils alumni out there. Very engaging. Remember when he had his restaurant, Mezzanotes? I believe it was in Caldwell, North Caldwell, one of the Caldwells, I believe. A lot of our Devils fans would go there. Although the food was great, but we went there because that was Ken Daneyko's restaurant. Donnell Weaver is asking, can I ask you why do they call Ken Daneyko Mr. Devil? The obvious, he spent his entire career with the New Jersey Devils, was there really right from the beginning, drafted by the New Jersey Devils, played his entire career, 20-year career, with the New Jersey Devils, and post-career, broadcaster for the New Jersey Devils. He was doing the intermission reports, and then he worked his way up. Now he is the color commentator, and and that's that. And I'm seeing some comments here. Please, some of them are a little negative, but I don't know the story behind it. I can only tell you what I've dealt with Ken Daneyko is, again, nothing short of a gentleman. I mean, when we asked him, Nick Villano and I, when we asked him to come out for our Tampa Bay Lightning Amalie Arena podcast, we were literally at Thunder Alley outside of Amalie Arena in Tampa. Ken Daneyko came out, met with the other fans, when he could have just said, hey, it's TV. I need to prepare. No, he came out and he spent probably about half an hour with us at our podcast outside of Amalie Arena at our table in front of all the fans and took the time out. And it was a fun time. It was a good time. And David Decker, just to answer your question, YouTube Live, I don't know, James. I'm not going to, every fan has a negative thing about Ken. I'm not going to even talk about it because I know what I know. And, David Singer is going to be rocking his 20-year-old Daneyko jersey today. Yeah, why not? He is the epitome of the New Jersey Devils. Hardworking, not going to take anybody's crap. It's amazing how this Canadian kid from Western Canada, drafted by New Jersey Devils, he didn't even know where New Jersey was when he was drafted, comes in just like Marty Brodeur, almost just adopted New Jersey, and New Jersey adopted Ken Daneyko. I mean, here in New Jersey, we don't take anybody's crap. And that's how Ken Daneyko played. Very well respected amongst the NHL circles, and, and that's that. He is Mr. Devil. And David Decker, I got to ask you, this is the same David Decker from Town Toyota in Ledgewood off of Route 46. David Decker, are you going to our tweet up on November 12th at American Whiskey? Are you coming? We're going to have a tweet up. I'll have to get the message out there. A lot of people are going to come out for the tweet up because our Twitter account, @Let'sGoDevilsPod, is growing like crazy. We want to put the faces to the screen names. All of you keyboard warriors out there, we know it's all good fun. But yeah, it's just, it'll be a good time. November 12th at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to Championship Plaza. And to James, saying, I think Mr. Devil's awesome and class act, want to meet him sometime. Yeah, and it's not hard because he's very engaging with the fans. Just be polite, say hello, take a picture. He's a fan favorite. But, dealing with him, I could tell you, anytime I dealt with Ken Daneyko behind the scenes, nothing but a gentleman. Every once in a while, I'll text him, and he texts back. Again, not saying that I'm best friends with Ken Daneyko, but through the podcast, he's been nothing but an extremely positive, great heart, everything you would expect of one of the toughest players that ever played in the NHL. Like, he was a tough guy. You weren't going to get to Martin Brodeur. You weren't going to get to Chris Terreri. You weren't going to get to Sean Burke. If you had to go through Ken Daneyko, whether he was on his A game or not, you had to go through Ken Daneyko. He made it difficult. He was the epitome of the no-fun zone because you weren't going to get through to the goaltender without paying the price. And remember, I'll never forget this, 2003 Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7. Ken Daneyko didn't play game 1 through 6. Game 7, he got the nod. The night before, he found out through the late Pat Burns that he was going in, and he was so excited. Practically couldn't sleep. His last ever NHL game. Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals in New Jersey. Series tied 3-3 against the Anaheim Ducks. I remember getting to my seats early in section 217. I was actually in my Martin Brodeur gear because we were undefeated. The Devils were undefeated anytime I wore the goalie pads inside the arena. And I remember sitting there, or standing, because I couldn't really sit, standing there in 217, Bob Arsena making the announcement, and I'll never forget this for the rest of my life, the roar of the crowd of the scratches, and it skipped number 3, and everybody knew, and it was confirmed, this is before the Twitter world, that Ken Daneyko, Mr. Devil, was going to play his last NHL game against the Anaheim, with the Mighty Ducks, doesn't matter, in the Stanley Cup Finals Game 7, and the roar of the crowd, the respect of Devils fans knowing they will be seeing Mr. Devil for the last time on the ice as an NHL player. David Decker said the building was shaking. Yes, I asked Bill Clement, this Gary Thorne and Bill Clement called the game. Bill Clement, I said, you said this on air, that the building was moving back and forth, that it was shaking. He confirmed it to me. He said literally the building was shaking that night where he was in the broadcast booth. It was loud, but when Ken Daneyko's name was not announced, and it was Oleg Tverdovsky that was, poor Oleg, because I liked him as a player, Pat Burns, the late Pat Burns, knew that you need a guy like that in Game 7 to give you that extra oomph to get over the hump. The energy, the spirit, the heart and soul of the team will get that crowd going. Pat Burns, the late Pat Burns, knew about the New Jersey Devils fans that they could be a factor, a major factor in an elimination game, winner takes all, that the heart and soul of the team, Ken Daneyko, can lift the seventh skater. And doesn't surprise me that Martin Brodeur got the shutout. 3-0 victory for the Devils' third Stanley Cup. And it was Ken Daneyko. Ken Daneyko, his presence on the ice was good enough to help the Devils beat the Ducks. After 20 years, that's how good Ken Daneyko was. That's how much he's meant to the organization. David Chime says it was a Dano game, a physical war, great rewatch value. Absolutely. And players like Mike Rupp will be forever etched in Devils history, scoring the game-winning goal, the first goal. Jeff Friesen sealing the deal with that third goal. You remember, I remember, how loud it was that night at Continental Airlines Arena, formerly known as Brendan Byrne Arena. The place was shaking. And I have to find this video footage. This is before camera phones. But one of my friends bought one of the latest and greatest at the time period in 2003, a digital camera that took video. I have video of inside that night. And one of these days I will have to, maybe on the February 25th game at American Whiskey, I should play those videos with 4 minutes left. And the crowd in unison chanting, "We want the cup." And it was just amazing. Everybody stood up, waving their pom-poms, their towels. I think it was the pom-poms. Everyone chanting, "We want the cup." And it was just so loud, and it went for so long. And I've also got video footage in the parking lot where we're shooting off fireworks in celebration. That is what Michael Hay, walking through the tunnel, amazing atmosphere. Yes, the cattle. Yeah, what did we call it? The cattle walk or the catwalk? What was it we called it? I forgot what we used to call that. That tunnel. Because I used to tailgate at the end of the tunnel on the Meadowlands. I'm sorry, not the Meadowlands side. The Continental Airlines Arena side. That's where we parked. Right at the end of the tunnel. We used to take our bullhorn. That's how I met David Decker from Town Toyota on Route 46. Who would have thought that 20 years later he would hook up my future wife with the Toyota when there are no Toyotas to be found in the state of New Jersey? Brand new RAV4. It was just amazing. How that guy, David Decker, on a bullhorn, and I'm on a bullhorn, yelling at each other, "Let's go Devils." And he used to be coming out from the tunnel, the red guy, David Decker. And that's how we met. And then 20 years later, he sells my wife a Toyota at Town Toyota. Great deal, by the way. And they do not endorse, sponsor our podcast. So my recommendation and my word of mouth and all that review of David Decker at Town Toyota, Route 46, go there if you need a Toyota. Shorts guy's been hooked up. I've been hooked up. I know Rob Klobosis was hooked up. Hardline Betty was hooked up by David Decker. Hey, you know what? And he gets you a good deal. Yeah, he gets you a good deal. Oh, yeah, Michael Hayes' daughter, who I've met at the old Taj Lounge 973, now we're at American Whiskey, got a car from David Decker this past year. Again, you're not going to get ripped off by David Decker, and somehow he finds that Toyota intact for you, a brand new Toyota. I mean, I'll tell you my experience. I walked in looking for David Decker. He was off that day. I told him, hey, there's a RAV4. It's for sale. And then he calls me up, and he's like, yo, you're going to buy it? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'll be right there. On his day off. And took it off the lot. There were vultures about to put bids on that RAV4, that Toyota. And the next day, my wife walked out with a brand new Toyota from David Decker, Town Toyota, Route 46, in beautiful Ledgewood, New Jersey. Yes. And David Singer says, he bled for us literally and figuratively. We owe him a debt of gratitude. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, heart and soul guy, loyalty, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, is a rare commodity, especially in today's world. That's what we have with Ken Daneyko. And believe me, do not take that for granted. Ken Daneyko has meant everything to this organization. And just like David Decker, the red guy that you see on the MSG commercials, now they're playing more of it. Also, a big fan of the Let's Go Devils podcast. Has the tattoo of the Let's Go Devils logo on his arm. He promised me if we have a 20-year anniversary of the Let's Go Devils podcast that he would put the anniversary logo somewhere on his body. But yeah, David Decker, Town Toyota, Route 46, beautiful New Jersey. Also, this is a quadruple header Sunday. Happy Devil Sunday. A quadruple. Again, let me repeat. A quadruple header Happy Devil Sunday. We'll report. Going to drop the We'll report 20 minutes for your commute to the game. Hopefully you'll listen again. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music Prime, iHeart app, Spotify. But we got Game Day Live pushing out the stream to American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place. Great place to pregame, postgame. After the game, after you love Ken Daneyko and boo Johnny Gaudreau, we got Devils After Dark. After the game, pushing out the stream again to American Whiskey. And then the Sunday edition of the Let's Go Devils podcast. Recapping the week that was. Also previewing the West Coast swing where they're going to be in Vancouver, which doing the Game Day Live and Devils After Dark, I'm going to need a lot of coffee for those games because I'm on a business trip, and in the hotel room I'll be producing around 2 to 3 a.m., I guess. I don't know. That's okay. We're Devils fans. Bajagaloop, LGD podcast. Let's go. Woo Report, baby. Let's go. That's right. That's right, folks. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast. Rob Klabosis, I saw you at American Whiskey. Don't you think that we don't have cameras all over the place? November 12th, folks. November 12th. We're going to have a tweet up before the Devils take on the Arizona Coyotes. Tweet up at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern. On November 12th, we are going to get a Jesper Bratt-themed specials at American Whiskey. Brat Pack will be there. Yes, the infamous Brat Pack on Twitter will be there, is confirmed. It's going to be a lot of people, folks. We're going to have a lot of fun. The fun zone is at American Whiskey. The no fun zone is in front of Vitek Vanacek and Mackenzie Blackwood. You're not allowed to have fun there, but you can have fun, the fun zone, at American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, Devil's Den, next to Championship Plaza. Want to thank all those listening, watching this early Woo Report, quadruple header Sunday. Game day live around 1:20 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern start for Mr. Devil. We'll probably maybe do it 1 p.m. Eastern just so you guys can get inside to watch the ceremonies celebrating 40 years of Mr. Devil. Then game day live after the game. You can post game and celebrate, hopefully, at American Whiskey. And you can keep it here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. And the Sunday edition, this tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, Beer Baron, Shorts Guy. They have not confirmed yet, but maybe they'll be on. And I'm sure Scotty and I will be on. Big, big day today for the podcast and the New Jersey Devils and Ken Daneyko. Thank you, thank you, thank you. John Heaton says, let's go Devils. Oh, my goodness. Bratwurst all night long. That's right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Send me a direct message on Twitter if you can. At Primetime Sam Wu. You and I got to talk. I like you. I like your thinking. We need to have critical mass and get all the fans together on the same page with these ideas. I love the ideas. David Chine says, thanks for getting us pumped up for the game. No, thank Ken Daneyko, because that's who we're talking about today. I just tell the truth. I don't get people fired up. I just tell the truth. Oh, by the way, Andre Johnson. We're going to talk about that on Game Day Live. Andre Johnson reunited with John Marino. Could there be a football call on Devils After Dark tonight? I don't know. We shall see. The autumn wind is upon us. Isn't that interesting? We'll talk a little bit about that on Game Day Live and Devils After Dark as well, and the Sunday edition of the Let's Go Devils podcast. Go to American Whiskey for the game. Again, thank you to all those dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes for your commute to the game. Till next time, this is the Woo Report. Let's go Devils.